Following the 2024 NFL Draft, we have a new update on both Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel from ESPN's Adam Schefter, who had a lot of interesting things to say on the Pat McAfee Show, and that's what we're talking about on this Monday edition of the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thanks for rocking with us. If you thought the Niners did well in the draft, we put out our draft grades video. I gave San Francisco a B- after day one. I thought it was going to be a C. I actually like what they did for the remainder of the draft. If you're with me, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. If not, I want you to share your thoughts as to what you didn't like about the Niners draft down in the comment section right now. And with that, let's talk some Niners. And this is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Hope all of your weeks are off to a great start and you're having an awesome Monday. Adam Schefter passing along some new reporting, some new thoughts, and some updates on both the Brandon Aiyuk front and the Deebo Samuel front. What is the future of both of the wide receivers and the current status of this Niners team after the addition of Ricky Pearsall during the NFL Draft? We're kind of going to go portion by portion with what Schefter had to say. And the first one that I want to hit is that the 49ers are still trying to lock up Brandon Aiyuk on a new contract extension. There's been so much different movement on the Aiyuk front throughout this entire offseason. And Schefter said despite the Niners drafting Ricky Pearsall, San Francisco still wants to get a contract extension done with Aiyuk here. Now, things have changed on this front, admittedly, and I put out a Aiyuk contract extension projection a couple of weeks ago, but then Devontae Smith got paid, and Amon-Ra St. Brown got a new deal with the Detroit Lions, and then A.J. Brown signed an extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. That, in turn, has reset the market a couple of different times from my original contract projection for Aiyuk, when I had him signing a 5-year deal, $127.5 million, $50 million in guaranteed money, which came out at the time to an average annual value of $25.5 million. But because the market has changed, I'm changing my Aiyuk contract projection because context is important and the money here has flipped. I still think Aiyuk can land a 5-year deal, but the total money on the contract goes up to $140 million. Guaranteed money goes up a lot because of Amon-Ra St. Brown, a lot of guaranteed money. Same with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So now Aiyuk gets $70 million in guaranteed money. And this is what the Niners run into when they wait to sign their homegrown players to extensions. When you do wait, in turn, you risk the market increasing for your own players, and that's exactly what's transpired. So now, I thought you could have gotten Aiyuk at $25.5 million per season. I think it's now increased to about $28 million per year. Story number 2 from what Schefter had to say with McAfee is that throughout the draft weekend, the Niners got calls on a Deebo Samuel trade, but they didn't come close to pulling the trigger. As I said throughout the weekend, the drafting of Ricky Pearsall will mark the end of one of the wide receivers on this Niners team, maybe two. And Brian Baldinger, NFL Network, who has been on this show, who I really, really appreciate and respect, said the same thing. That he basically put himself in the shoes of Aiyuk or Deebo and said, they're probably looking at Ricky Pearsall as being the replacement for one of them. So I think Ricky Pearsall is not an Aiyuk replacement personally because I think he's more of a slot wide receiver. I think that Pearsall, though, is replacing one of the receivers on this roster, if not two. It's one of Aiyuk or Deebo, I would say Deebo, and then Juwan Jennings too after this upcoming year. Because he's right now playing on that restricted free agent tender, just under $5 million. Other teams across the NFL look at him as a valuable player, a good player who could do a lot more with more targets, a clutch performer, and a willing blocker. He has outpriced himself for the Niners' liking with the Brock Purdy contract extension looming at this point next year. So again, Pearsall's going to replace one of the wideouts on this team, if not a couple. And that has made the NFL draft and this offseason a whirlwind, right? Because Ricky Pearsall gets picked and everybody's saying, well, what does that mean? I gave you what I think that it means moving forward. Then you had Mike Silver reporting that he thought a Deebo trade was more likely than an Aiyuk move, and he expected San Francisco to move Deebo. It didn't end up happening. And as we talked about, John Lynch said that after taking calls on Aiyuk and Deebo going into the draft and on night one, did not take calls on day 2, day 3. Translation, they didn't get a deal that moved the needle for this organization. The reported asking price for Deebo, a first rounder. No team was going to give up a first round pick for Deebo with the age issues, injury issues, and the production, which has gone down and hasn't been the same since he had that first team All-Pro season in 2021, which led to him getting the contract. And teams are weary of paying that amount of money for a player with those aforementioned issues. And the Niners have said, keep this in mind, we'll listen to offers on anybody. And I do my job passing that information along to people here on this show, on my social media pages, and then somehow people turn it into me spreading fake news and me not wanting any of those players back when it couldn't be further from the truth. The real ones know what my opinions are on the matter. As for Aiyuk and Deebo returning, there was always a possibility of everybody coming back because you can backload this Aiyuk extension if you get it done. He's also under contract one more year on the 5th-year option. There isn't really a rush to get rid of one of them for 2024. But 2025 becomes very, very interesting because keep this in mind. This year, 2024 for Deebo Samuel, is the final year in which he has guaranteed money left on his deal. That allows the Niners to move off of him more realistically next offseason. And for the acquiring team, they might be more interested now in trading for Deebo Samuel next offseason, knowing that they could cut bait and cut him free and not have to owe him any money on the remaining years of the deal that he signed going into the 2023 season. Next year is when the money starts to tighten up. Brock Purdy is not going to accept a large hometown discount because he's already made less than $1 million each year. It's going to be the same case this year, too, as he continues to be one of the best bargain deals in the entire National Football League. So I think that the Niners are going to run it back for 2024. It's going to be the last dance for this team, as I said, after this past campaign. And then next offseason, going to be very, very interesting. And then the third part of what Schefter said, the Niners' plan is to keep both. Now, Schefter did say the Niners' plan is to keep both as of right now and said that things can change. But if this holds, and if Aiyuk and Deebo are on this team, alongside Jauan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, the Niners might really have the deepest wide receiver room in the entire NFL. Tell me a team in the National Football League that can trot out the collection of talent like the Niners have at the wide receiver position. Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, Jauan Jennings, they all bring something different to the table. They've all shown in one way, shape, or form how special of players they are. In the case of Aiyuk and Deebo, they're certainly elite, both all pros, and then Jennings is criminally underrated. But then you're adding Ricky Pearsall to this team who has 4.4 speed, great catch radius, can go up and get it, 42-inch vert, good route runner, good footwork, tough after the catch. You added Jacob Cowing, who's a 4.3, 4.4 40-yard dash player who had incredible production last year at Arizona and was a touchdown machine. And now we're talking about this. Are Ronnie Bell, Danny Gray, Trent Taylor, Chris Conley now going to be on the outside looking in? Because as of right now, the Niners have 10, 11 wide receivers on the roster, and cutdown day is going to be fascinating. So here's part of what Schefter said with Pat McAfee. The plan right now is to move forward with both of those guys, Deebo and Aiyuk, who's obviously who he's talking about. Now, could that change at some point? Sure, absolutely. But clearly we know there are some wide receiver questions out in San Francisco right now. Nothing will change me if that changes. Nothing will surprise me if everybody comes back and the Niners run it back with the last dance here in 2024. Let's ask you, what do you think? Will Aiyuk and Deebo be on the 49ers for the 2024 season? Simply type on or off. Let me know down in the comments section. Still a lot to get to here on the show, but first, game time, making today's 49ers report possible. If you're looking for premium seats and the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed, and if you want an app that's not going to hit you with a bunch of outrageous fees if you click the all-in pricing option, if you want flash deals, if you want to put together phenomenal memories with you, your significant other, friends, family members, and go to a sporting event, Game Time app is where it's at. And if you use the code CHATSPORTS, you get $20 off your purchase. What I love about the Game Time app, hit all-in pricing. You're not going to get hit with those outrageous fees, but also you see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Those flash deals are also awesome, and as the event gets closer, the prices do drop. You can go to a San Francisco Giants game, a Niners game later this calendar year. Outside of the sporting realm, you can go to concerts, comedy shows, theater events. I'm telling you, Game Time has it all. So use the code CHATSPORTS. We'll put this information for the free download of the Game Time app and for you to get $20 off your purchase down in the show notes and in the comment section of this video. What I want to do now is recap the 2024 NFL Draft for San Francisco. And we talked about every single pick that the Niners made over draft weekend. All of those videos up on the channel right now. I handed out my draft grades for the Niners, all of the players, but then overall as a team, I gave them a B-. We did a UDFA video to take a look at some of the undrafted free agents who the Niners are going to bring in. And in totality, here are all the picks that the Niners made Thursday, Friday, Saturday combined. Ricky Pearsall, round 1, 31st overall, wide receiver out of Florida. Renardo Green, round 2, 64th pick, cornerback out of Florida State. Dominic Pooney, offensive guard, Kansas, round 3, 86th overall. And then Malik Mustafa, the safety, round 4, 124 overall out of Wake Forest. Cool story here, and we put this up on our YouTube short page back in March. He grew up a Niner fan, so now he's going to the team that he grew up rooting for. When you look at these 4 players here, what do they all bring to the table? Ricky Pearsall, I've warmed up on the selection. If he's an Aiyuk replacement, I hate it. If he's another weapon for this team in 2024, and then a potential Deebo Samuel replacement down the road, if the Niners have to make that decision, then I like it a little bit more. And the pro comps that I've been seeing, an Adam Thielen, a Cooper Kupp, I saw a bigger and better Julian Edelman. All of that is pretty intriguing to me. I think he's going to be able to live in the middle area of the field that taps into the strengths of Brock Purdy because he does a great job of processing, throwing with accuracy, anticipation, touch in the middle area of the field. And Pearsall is going to be able to win matchups there. He can win against man. He can win against zone. He's a good route runner. He can go up and get it with that 42-inch vert. And the Niners love his toughness. And he's going to be able to give you a little bit as far as special teams, hopefully, with being a punt returner. In Renardo Green, the Niners got a corner who I think fans are really, really going to like. Now, Mel Kiper said this was 2 rounds a little bit too early, but some other draft nerds have said, love the selection. He could play press man. He's very physical, not afraid to hit the ball carrier. He's going to talk a little smack here and there. He plays with this intense fire and competitiveness. He has a swagger, and he has really good ball skills. He led the ACC in pass breakups last year. So you're getting a player who has a nose for making plays on the football and brings some of those qualities that the Niners like on both sides of the ball as far as being tough, loving ball. And he fared well against Malik Nabers week 1. And Malik Nabers went number 6 overall to the New York Giants, and some people think that he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. And Dominic Pooney, offensive guard out of Kansas. He played tackle last year. He was one of 3 tackles in college football to log 700-plus snaps and not give up a sack. He's extremely versatile. He claims that he is the most versatile offensive lineman in this draft class. He's athletic. He ran pretty well in the pre-draft process, has that streak of nastiness to his game. I like the versatility. And I've seen some people say the Niners offensive line, starters next year, should be and could be Trent Williams at left tackle, Aaron Banks left guard, John Feliciano at center, has a lot of experience playing there and was a highly rated guard last year, Dominic Pooney at right guard, and then Spencer Burford at right tackle. Spencer Burford at right tackle is a little bit lofty for me. He hasn't even shown that he can play guard. Who's to say that he can play right tackle? I think it's going to be Colton McKivitz, and hopefully with another year under his belt, he can get a little bit better. And then there's Malik Mustafa. John Lynch said on his draft call with him, he's jealous of the stockiness and the build that he has. And he said Mustafa, and it might be Malik Mustafa. They were calling him Malik Mustafa. I could certainly confirm that as we continue to progress forward. But Malik Mustafa, John Lynch said, I'm jealous of your body type because of how swole you are. He also said Mustafa was his favorite interview at the NFL Combine. Good personality when I interviewed him at the Combine, so I can confirm that. One of the best tackling safeties in this draft class, makes plays on the football, has center field range, ran pretty well, box safety too, good against the run, and on third downs can be used as a versatile chess piece. I like that selection for sure. Isaac Correndo, a running back who's 6'3" and 230 pounds. What special ability that he has. My goodness. I mean, he can be gone in the blink of an eye. One-cut runner, outside zone fit. He can catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit. There was a play in the bowl game in which he went down the left sideline and had to jump up and adjust to the football. That's what makes Christian McCaffrey really special, is that ability to catch the ball, run the ball, but also to be that capable receiving threat. And with the way that he runs, it's going to be fun to watch him in this offense. You look at the Miami Dolphins, right? They now have the fastest wide receiver room in the history of the NFL. They traded up for Jalen Wright, 4.3 guy. Last year, they drafted Devon Achane, 4.3 guy. They have Raheem Mostert, former Niner, 4.3 guy. Now for the Niners, you have more speed on this team with Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, and Isaac Correndo. More speed on Kyle Shanahan's offense. That's dangerous. And specifically at the running back spot, backup RB, a little bit of a question mark because Elijah Mitchell is always hurt. Jacob Cowing, 5'8", 5'9". He's shorter. But out of the slot, intriguing player who runs a 4.3, 4.4 and was a touchdown machine and wins on his routes because he's so precise. Jarrett Kingston has played tackle, has played guard. He didn't give up a sack last year. And then Tatum Bethune, he's a linebacker who brings a thump. He's lighter, a little bit heavier than a safety build, but a little bit thin for a linebacker. I'm kind of okay with that nowadays because as the game changes, teams have had thinner linebackers because you need to be able to keep up with the speed on the offensive side of the football, and you can still be physical at that size at the linebacker spot as a little bit of a hybrid player, but he plays with the ferociousness, the physicality, the I want to hit you and run through you type of attitude that Dre Greenlaw has. So there you go, some more draft thoughts. Subscribe to the show. It's the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. The draft coverage over the weekend was incredible. Got some great views. We've reached about 1 million people over the last month. On Instagram, I've reached about 1 million people over the last month. It's been awesome, and we're going to continue to do what we do, and that's provide the best content here on YouTube.